Hi there! So, my name is Francie, and I go by the name Mystic Diamond here. I just want you to get, all this information so that you're aware when you quote me, you have all that information. This is a video that I have been guided to put out there for all the fear-mongerers out there. So if you've been guided to watch this video, please take a seat, grab some popcorn, grab a drink, because we're going to have a little bit of a chat, or as we might say in Australia, a bit of a yarn, a bit of a chat about a few things, okay? So take a seat, and let's discuss this and get this all out in the open, shall we? Okay, so there's a couple of items that I do need to address. I'm going to start off by talking to those fearmongers of you out there that, how do we put this? Have decided that you are going to make a living out of doing readings, okay, and this is how you are going to live. And I need to be very specific about what I'm trying to say here and what I'm trying to get across, because I'm not referring to those who will do a couple of readings here and there, and you might charge for those readings, and that's totally fine, I don't have an issue with that, but I'm talking to those of you who maybe once or twice, you know who you are, maybe once or twice you might have just said to your subscribers, if you don't book a reading with me, I'm not going to be able to pay my bills, so I'm going to need you to book a reading with me if you don't want to lose me. Okay, we call this fear-mongering. We do. Because here's the deal, guys, to all the readers out there, here's the deal. Those of you who do personal readings, we'll start with personal readings. Those of you who do personal readings, yeah, okay, personal readings, they are what they are, and I have no issue with that, provided that you're not fear-mongering someone into getting a reading. Like, if someone comes to you for guidance, and you turn around and say to them, of course I can help you, for $50 I will give you a reading, because that is straight up fear-mongering. What is stopping you from just responding to them and helping them out for free? Yeah, I mean, you know what I mean. Regardless of where you're coming from, if this is your spiritual path, if this is, I don't know, if you're like a witch or whatever, and if you follow Wicca, it's definitely not the Wiccan way, that's for sure, or if you're an angelic, such as I am an angelic, and there's more to me than being just an angelic, but that's okay. It's definitely fear-mongering. Forcing people to have readings or pushing them into having a reading out of fear rather than anything else. But also, readings in and of themselves are for the human. Okay? The human needs to know what's coming up, but here's the thing, and I get it, I know, because like some of you, I am going through my path at the moment, and like some of you who are claiming you're going through your path but you're not, well, there's a great line that comes through from the nanny, so I'm going to quote Fran Fine on this one: God will punish you. And I'll leave that at that. But yeah, readings are for the human, those who are angelics, or if you wish to call them twin flames. Oh, we'll get to twin flames in a moment, but if you want to call them twin flames, those who are teaching the idea that we have the human vessel and the soul, okay, the soul knows what is coming up. It is the human that it needs the reading for whatever reason, and here's the thing. The human doesn't need the reading, and maybe one thing that you might want to consider in place of fear-mongering, if you want to get back on the right track, might just be to say to them, okay, look, I can absolutely offer you a reading if you would like a reading from me. However, I can still guide you, and guide you for free, which leads me to my next point. I have been advised by many angelics that there are some of you out there who charge for guidance, and this absolutely baffles me. Now, I don't want to get all personal here and say to you guys, do you know how many angelics I'm guiding every single week? Like, seriously, I guide that many angelics, but do I charge them for guidance? No. It is so wrong to charge someone who has been guided to you for some assistance in some way as far as talking to them, just assisting them. You know, why would you charge for this? It's completely beyond me. Not only is it completely disrespectful, it is very unbecoming of whatever it is that the true reason why you are here is. Whatever that reason is, the true reason why you have actually been guided to do this, and not the money-hungry, subscriber-hungry, you know, likes and whatever else, and comment-hungry human side of you that you've become. It's very unbecoming of being whatever you are to charge people for guidance, for simply having that discussion and helping them work through their path and their process. Don't you think they go through enough? They do. They go through more than enough. Now, let me talk to those of you who are putting it out there that we can burn everything because it cleanses everything. Hi to all of you. Now, if you're going to place me on your drama channels, I just want to get ready. Make sure I look okay. Do I look right from the left and the right? I think I do. Now, again, my name is Francie. That is Francy, or you can refer to me as Mystic Diamond. I just want to make sure that you're getting that right, you know, in case you, I don't know, doing one of those little drama channel things and be like, so there's this guy who's saying this. Yeah, my name is Mystic Diamond, and I appreciate the credit of you using the name that I do use. Okay, let's talk about burning things, because if there's one thing that is not only driving myself but fellow angelics crazy, as well as, if you want to go up even higher, let's do so, cherubims, seraphims, even, yes, God, is the idea that is being perpetuated out there that burning sage, because sage is the most common one, or even burning a candle with ritualistic intent, is the best thing you can do to cleanse a space. First of all, it's the worst thing that you can do to cleanse a space, okay? And I'm going to get into that in just a moment. But secondly, there are so many other ways that one can cleanse a space, and the most simplistic way of cleansing a space has nothing to do with needing any physical ingredients whatsoever aside from yourself. So I don't quite understand why there are so many of you that are encouraging people to go out and buy this herb, because we pronounce the H in Australia, so I say herb, to go out and buy this herb simply to burn it because, you know, burning this herb is going to cleanse the space. It's ridiculous. But what you may or may not actually be aware of is that angelics who are walking their path of ascension and going through their process of transcendence, feel free to look it up, the information is out there, okay? Some of those angelics have the clair ability of clairsentience, and I'm going to stop here and tell you exactly what clairsentience is, because there are so many different definitions out there of what clairsentience is. Clairsentience is literally the ability to feel something that is coming through from somewhere that's not in the physical reality. So somewhere that's, it's not what the humans would call the 3D, and I could go on a tangent about that as well, but I won't right now. So yeah, it's things that we feel, and to give you an example of what we feel, because that is not going far enough, I'm referring to swords, knives, daggers, clamping, a birthing timeline, pregnancy timeline, drilling, oh gosh, what else? There's just so much. Slicing, I mean, torture timelines, it's just absolutely amazing. Being strung up, and I think I mentioned clamping already. One of, so it's literally feeling things that aren't in the physical reality. So let's say, for example, you're feeling a needle, okay, going into you, and of course, you know, you're not getting a needle at that moment here in the present physical reality, but you're feeling it. This is clairsentience. Now, there are a few of you beautiful fearmongers out there who are trying to claim that this is a psychic attack and it needs to be cured. No. And if you are watching this and you are not a fearmonger, and in fact if you've been on the receiving end of someone saying to you that this is a psychic attack and you need to be cured of it and you need to pay money, please do not buy into this fear mongering. It is not a psychic attack, and bless those who are trying to make money out of that. It is clairsentience. It is an ability that you have been contracted to have. And the reason that clairsentience exists, that angelic clairsentience exists, is so that they can be conduits to receive these energetic attacks, so that they can, in order to transmute these energetic attacks into loving energy. Okay, so it's not a psychic attack that someone is shoving on you and if you pay $100 we can get it off you. Not at all. For one thing, this is not about getting it off you at all. It's about you actually transmuting this attack into loving energy. It's also part of your timeline and many other things that I can say. If you'd like to leave a comment below, please feel free to do so. But we've only just begun. I'd like to talk to you about one of the biggest clairsentient energetic attacks out there, which is the fire timeline. Now, the fire timeline for clairsentience, as I said, clairsentience, the ability to literally feel. The fire timeline makes you feel like you are literally on fire. Now, I cannot overemphasize this enough. It literally feels like you are being burned alive from the feet going up, or from the head going down, to becoming fully and completely lit alight on fire. Even though you are not in the physical reality, you are energetically. Here's the thing. The fire timeline, which is absolutely horrid and very excruciatingly painful to go through, the fire timeline originated from the Salem witch trials, and part of the fire timeline is dealing with those timelines, what happened there, you know, witches being burnt alive at the stake and all those sorts of things, and having to deal with those timelines, because that's what we do as angelics. We have to deal with these timelines for many and varying reasons that I'm not going to get into here, but yeah, that's part of what it is. But the other part of the fire timeline is anyone who is lighting anything on fire with ritualistic intent. And this is where I go back to sage. Sage is the most commonly used item that is lit alight on fire with ritualistic intent. And the reason that it is done so is because there is just so much information and advertising and promotion of the benefits of burning sage. But the reality is, one, burning sage does not do anything at all as far as cleansing is concerned. So you're wasting your money and wasting your time in burning that sage anyway, because it's not doing anything to assist you. So please know that. But also, at the same time, once you burn that sage alight with that ritualistic intent, you are setting an angelic who has clairsentience on fire. Okay? And this has gone on for far too long. This is something that I am hoping to collapse out. And, you know, I am one voice among the many, but if I don't start putting this information out there, then, you know, I can't rely on anyone else to do so either. I need everyone who's listening to this to either stop promoting the use of lighting anything on fire with ritualistic intent, or if you were someone who was, to please no longer do it. Now, if you feel the strong urge to be cleansing for whatever reason, there are other ways that you can go about doing that. And if you want to know what those ways are, and you seriously want to know what those ways are, please do not hesitate to leave a comment in the space below, and I will let you know what those ways are. Now, it is not limited to sage burning, but sage burning is simply the most common. One of the biggest ones that myself and my fellow angelics, clairsentient angelics, are having trouble with is every time there is a full moon. Okay, bless whoever started this, because I'm sure, you know, I'm sure that whoever started it at the time thought they were doing a really nice thing, and bless them. But whenever there's a full moon, apparently what you need to be doing is writing something down. Now, it varies from person to person who's promoting whatever you have to do, whatever you need to write down. So I'm not going into specifics, but you need to write something down on a piece of paper and then burn it. Because again, like, I don't have the fancy schmancy little things that pop up here and there, but if I did, I would have a picture of fire up here right now going ding. Burn it. Because, yeah. Because why does this happen? Because it is popular. Because it's what everyone does. It's because there is this mentality out there among humans that if something is said by many, it must be true. And this is going to be one of the biggest downfalls for humans, and they'll realize this more and more as they go along, or if you are one, you will realize this as you go along if you're promoting this, is that just because something is talked about a lot does not necessarily make it true. I mean, you only have to go as far to look at politics, the media, things like that, of that nature, to see the amount of times, say with the media, the amount of times something is gossiped about to the point that everyone believes it, and then whoever is being gossiped about comes out and says, well, actually, no, this is actually nowhere near true at all, but people are just talking about it, and because it's getting so much attention, people just believe that it's true. And it's exactly the same when it comes to the process of dealing with energies. Now, I'm not going to say the spiritual path or the spiritual process, because I don't use those terms. They do not relate to the process that angelics go through. It's not a spiritual path or process. That is religion. I'm leaving religion alone. I'm talking about those who are going through the energetic path and energetic process, okay, of ascension and transcendence. And so burning things for whatever ritualistic reason, you are setting angelics alight. Now, do you really want to be doing that? And please don't think that, I'm being a hypocrite here by coming on and fear-mongering you guys into not doing this. If anything, I'm just trying to let you guys know what the reality is. And the reality is, every time that you are burning something with ritualistic intent, you are setting a clairsentient angelic on fire. That is just the way that it is. And if anyone, you'll be hard-pressed to find anyone more empathetic than me to your situation, because prior to my being activated, going through my awakening, woke is a term that's used that I don't really appreciate, but call it what you will, the initiate's portion of this process, I actually was a Wiccan. So I get it. I can absolutely empathize with those of you who are doing spells and putting and lighting things on fire because you think it's the right thing to do. But the fact of the matter is that you're not being given this information, and now that I have this information, I need to pass it on to you guys. You are lighting angelics on fire. Now, the next thing I want to talk to you guys about is divines, because there is this, for those of you who do discuss divine feminines and divine masculines, bless you for discussing it. I do appreciate that it is being put out there and that it is being discussed, because there are some who don't even talk about divine feminine and divine masculine, so I'll give you credit where it's due. But please, please, please make sure that if you are discussing divine feminines and divine masculines, that you are not guiding those that you are guiding to believe that your divine is determined by your gender, because this is definitely not the case. So yeah, there's divine feminines and divine masculines and counterparts. We'll get into counterparts in a moment, but there's divine feminines and divine masculines. And while I would probably say the majority of the divine masculines are male and the majority of the divine feminines are female, it's certainly not unheard of. We'll get into that in just a moment too, but it's certainly not unheard of for a male to be a divine feminine and a female to be a divine masculine. How do I know? I am living proof myself. I am a human male and I am a divine feminine. Okay, so I want to get that out there for any males out there who are being told you're divine masculine because it's determined by your gender, and they're feeling like they're just not resonating with that. And same for females, if they're being told you're divine feminine because you are a woman, and they're not, you know, again, resonating with that. It's not about your gender. Divine was never, when it comes to determining your divine, it was never a determining factor. Sorry, your gender was never the determining factor. Gender is left completely out of what your divine is. Your divine comes back to personality traits that you have, okay? And this is where you need to look into what divine you are, if this is part of your process. If it's part of your process to know what your divine is. So please don't just think, oh, I'm a woman, I'm a divine feminine. Definitely not. If you are more of a logical thinker, leader type of person, you are a divine masculine. If you're a male, but you're very nurturing and caring and emotional, you are a divine feminine. Divine masculine, divine feminine. It is not about gender. It never has been and it never will be. And part of the reason why we need to get this information out there is because there's been a lot of confusion when it comes to counterparts. Some of you are calling it twin flames. Which I do need to get into twin flames, and I will, but let's just get to counterparts quickly. There's a lot of... there's been a lot of perpetuation when it comes to religion and, let's say, any relationship that is not between a man and a woman. Okay? And I think this confusion can be traced back, at least when it comes to the path of energies and the process of energies, comes back to the fact that there is a divine feminine and a divine masculine. But when we take gender out, sorry, excuse me, when we take gender out, we can come to realize that a male can be a divine feminine and a male can be a divine masculine. And so you can have two males there that are the divine feminine and divine masculine counterpart. Exactly the same with women. A female can be a divine masculine, a female can be a divine feminine, female gender, divine masculine, divine feminine counterparts. Okay? And so we need to stop this whole perpetuation, if that's a word. Go with it. We need to stop perpetuating that your gender determines your counterpart, okay? Because it doesn't. I am a male, my counterpart is a male, and that is just the way that it is. And it's not necessarily about your sexuality or anything either. It's just, it is the way it is. Your counterpart is your counterpart. But, again, it's not determined by gender. So please don't allow anyone to push you into that way of thinking that your counterpart has to be an opposite gender. Now, your counterpart may be an opposite gender, but they certainly do not have to be. I am living proof of this, and there are others out there as well that are living proof of this. It's not about gender. It is not about sexual orientation or sexuality. Not at all. So now let's talk about counterparts, and let's talk about twin flames, because this is one of the biggest ones. Where I was talking to you guys before about how there is something with humans, and how if something is talked about, because they're pushing through to me, my higher self is pushing through to me, that, you know, there's something about when people talk about things to death, and oh my gosh, it's like, it's everywhere, whether it be amongst people that you talk to, on social media, whether you hear about it, see it, read about it, whatever it is, it just seems to be everywhere, and therefore, because it is everywhere, that makes it a fact. And it does not make it a fact. The fact of the matter is, this whole twin flame thing, bless this whole twin flame process, and I'm trying to remain as calm as I can here, because, you know, I was guided to do this Dear Fear Mongers, video here, this transmission here for you guys, and I'm trying so very hard to remain neutral when I talk to those who are perpetuating this whole twin flame thing. Oh, because bless. Okay. Let's start by saying twin flames. This is going to get to some of you, and I'm aware of that, and because of that, it's going to come through to me. I feel things on behalf of, well, so many. It will take way too long to get into the intricacies of it all, but let's just say I feel things on behalf of everyone, and just keep it simple for those of you who are new. Okay. So if you have a reaction to this, I'm going to feel it when you have that reaction, and that's fine, because it needs to be said. Twin flames are part of the old ascension process. Now, what do I mean when I say the old ascension process? What I don't mean is, oh, you know what? We're just sick and tired of the old way, so we're going to repen a new way of doing this and just have fun doing it our own way. No, 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 no. What I mean is that the previous ascension and transcendence cycle has been completed, and this is where you may come across some fearmongers who are talking about how the first wavers, if you haven't heard of waves, that's fine, feel free to ask me about that below, but the first wavers are 80 years of age, which... One of my best friends is a first waver, and she's about to turn 40, and so when she heard the first time that someone said first wavers are 80, you can imagine her reaction. Those who are talking about first wavers being 80 years of age, what they're actually referring to is the first ascension cycle. Okay? The first ascension cycle has already been played out. Through that ascension cycle, there were many timelines, templates, labels, different things that they had to go through in order to affect what they needed to affect and collapse out, which is a term that we use. If you want to know more, again, feel free to comment below. But collapse out, whatever they need to collapse out as far as templates and timelines and whatever and so on and so forth. With the first ascension cycle, they used the terminology twin flames. This is where that originated. It was part of the first ascension cycle. Since that first ascension cycle was completed, the twin flame process was completed with that first ascension cycle. We are now into the next ascension cycle. And in this ascension cycle, we do not use the term, nor to varying degrees of what I have seen do we use the process that some are putting out there of twin flames. We don't use this anymore. The only reason why some angelics will use the term loosely, because you'll find that true angelics will use the term loosely. So they will say, oh, so, you know, your counterpart, twin flame, whatever, you know, very loosely, is because this is what is known. It's the term that's known. They're pushing through, my higher self is pushing through, what's her name? I don't even remember her name, but the professor from the very first Legally Blonde film, the very first class our Woods goes to, and she says, I believe you need to sharply question what you know, something to that effect. And, I mean, I've always taken very well to that phrase and saying anyway, but I need to say that here. You always need to sharply question what you know. Just because something is out there does not make it the case. Now, I'm going to try and stay on track here, because I know that I'm going here, there, and everywhere, and that's for many and varying reasons. There's just a lot coming through that I need to be telling you guys. But... okay, so twin flames was part of the first ascension process. That one has played out. We're on to the next ascension process now. Twin flames is not being used. The term that's being used is counterparts. And depending upon if you are someone who is promoting twin flames, or if you are someone who is part of a twin flame community, you may not necessarily be promoting it, but you are part of a community that does. What you need to be aware of is that depending upon the information that you are receiving and what you are being told, there are differences between the twin flame process and the counterpart process. Now, long story short, because I could spend a good, 10 hours discussing this, but I'm going to keep it very basic and very short. And again, if you'd like to know more, please comment below. Long story very short, the counterpart process is about you and your counterpart. The humans use the term, I say humans because, you know, bless them, as angelics, we have a human vessel and we have our soul and we're angelics, and so for the sake of helping to understand what it is that I'm referring to, I use the term the humans, just to separate that and help you understand where I'm coming from. The humans use the term soulmate, okay? But for a lot of humans, they use that term very, if I say flimsily, they use it very flimsily, like, oh, this is my soulmate, and then a week later, no, this is my soulmate. Oh, no, that one over there by the bar, that's my soulmate. Okay, bless them. Okay, so as you guys know, at least the human side of you would know, a soulmate, according to human definition, is the one that you were always meant to be with. That is what your counterpart is. Your counterpart is the one you were always meant to be with. But if we are to go into more detail, the reason your counterpart is the one you were always meant to be with is because your counterpart is half of your soul. Both of you together, coming together, create the one soul. You both have half of each other's soul, if that makes sense. So you are meant for your counterpart and for your counterpart alone. One of the biggest differences that I've seen between twin flames and the way that some guide the twin flame process compared to the counterpart process is that we don't... If our twin flame, I'm going to use the term that the fearmongers use, that you guys, some of you use, okay? If your twin flame doesn't come to you when you need them, then they're a bad twin flame and you need to ignore them the next time they come through, and of course you're going to be very upset with them and da-da-da-da-da. This is not the case when it comes to counterparts. When it comes to counterparts, you don't ignore your counterpart, and you, if anything, you appreciate your counterpart, because while you go through your process, in some ways, yeah, thank you, I'm not going to say alone, I'm going to say, while you have your individualistic path and process, your counterpart is always there with you. Some try to promote, what's the term they use? Separation consciousness, thank you. Separation consciousness, in that they're making this point that we're all separated and, you know, we're on our own and we're not connected to anything. But the fact of the matter is, you have not, are now, nor will you ever be disconnected from your counterpart energetically. That will not happen. Now, are there scenarios and situations where things could be affected in certain ways, shapes and forms? Absolutely there are, and if you want to know more about that, let me know in a comment below. But you will never ever be separated. That will never be the case. And part of the reason for that is because you are always mirroring each other, and part of the reason as well is because you have ingredients that are going to assist your counterpart, and your counterpart has ingredients that are going to assist you in each other's processes. Okay? The next thing you guys need to know, and this is one that's being put out there as far as the whole twin flame thing is concerned, is that you will not come together in union, what we refer to as physical reality union. Here in the, what humans call the 3D. Bless them for saying 3D. Anyway, what humans call the 3D, I'm just going to detach from that, okay? Thank you. Okay. You are not going to come into physical reality union with your counterpart, okay, until you have completed your ascension process and your process of transcendence. You will not come into union until that happens. So the idea that some are promoting that, oh, your twin flame is just around the corner and who knows, you might meet them next month, to me, it upsets me a little bit when I see things like this, because you're giving false hope, which really can be quite damaging to anyone. If you put out there that someone is going to meet their twin flame, to use the term that fearmongers use, not fearmongers, but those who aren't, thank you, those who aren't up to date with the fact that we are in the counterpart process at the moment. If you are putting out there that you're going to be meeting someone's going to meet their twin flame next month, and they don't meet their twin flame next month, I mean, can you imagine what they would be going through and thinking? Like, I was meant to be meeting my twin flame this month, I haven't met them, we're at the end of the month, what's going on? Like, really, why do you want to put them through that. The reality is you are not going to come into physical union with your counterpart until you have ascended. Now, does that mean you will not come into energetic union, or union energetically, depending on how you phrase it? Both are correct. No, because you will. You come into union energetically very quickly. In fact, you're connected from the moment that both of you are born anyway, but you come into meeting your counterpart energetically very early on. If not very quickly after you've been activated and gotten through that initial stage of the initiate's portion of your process, but it wouldn't be too much later on, if not pretty much virtually right away. And you'll experience that through whatever clairs you're experiencing it through. So whether it's your clairaudience, sentience, voyance, whatever it is, whether you're seeing your counterpart on higher dimensional levels, hearing them on higher dimensional levels, feeling them clairsentiently on higher dimensional levels, feeling their emotions through empathy, whatever it is, okay, you will have that energetic connection pretty much instantly. You will, in some way, shape, or form, feel that connection through whatever clair it is that you do have on. And they also want me to talk about clairs. My word. I think we're going to have to end this very soon because it's gone on long enough as it is. But I'm going to end by talking to you guys about the clairs, because there's a fearmonger out there that I'm not going to name because I don't do that. And I'm not trying to be a snob and say, I don't do that. No, I don't do that. I don't care to promote that stuff anyway, and I'm not someone that's going to be directly like, here's the person I'm talking about. No, I'm not going to do that. But there is someone out there who is very, very popular, suffice it to say, has a lot of subscribers. Bless this person. And I went onto one of their lives, and I was asking this person, because I don't want to identify them by gender, I was asking this person about the clairs. And this person came back to me and said they don't believe in the clairs, which I found to be quite amazing that they didn't believe in the clairs, because what they had been promoting up to this stage was just how much they had experienced energetically, and according to what they had experienced energetically, they had gone through quite a bit, and I would have expected them to have experienced their at least one clairsense by now, a long time ago, but anyway, it is what it is. Oh gosh. Then I had another that I was asking about the clairs, and their response was, oh, you don't want to focus on the clairs because they're going to lead you down a rabbit hole. To those who have... for those of you that are subscribers that are being guided by others, I don't want to give a bad name to anyone. That is not the purpose of me being here. That is not my point. My point is I'm hoping to affect things and change them to help you guys who are out there who may not know any better, because it might be that you're just starting your process at the moment and you have no idea what's going on. I don't want you being led down the wrong way. But if you... Okay, first things first. If you are subscribed to someone who, whether they do a live or not, if there is a way to contact them, ask the questions, okay? That is the best bit of advice I was given after I went through my activation. Ask the questions. And if you are given an answer that you do not resonate with, I don't need to say any more. If you're given an answer you're not resonating with, you know what to do. But if you ask anyone about the clairs, C-L-A-I-R-S, the clairs, and they come back to you with anything along the lines of, don't worry about that, I don't believe in it, it's going to put you down a rabbit hole, we don't need to care about the clairs, anything like that, look, I don't want to say head for the hills, but the clairs are one of the single most important things that you are going to be dealing with in this process. And I can't say that or put that any better than I have just now. Okay? You need to know about the clairs, because if you have been activated, you will have at least one clair. you may have all 7, but you will have at least one Claire, and you need to know what it is. You need to know what it is so that you know what it is, and you also need to know what it is so that you know how to deal with and what to do with what is coming through to you with your Claire. Okay, Claire or Claires, whatever you have. For me, I have all 7 Claires. And if you want to look them up, feel free to do so, but they include, but are not limited to, clairaudience, clairsentience, claircognizance, clairvoyance, clairempathy, clairgustance, and clairsent. Some call it clairsalience, but you can also call it clairsent. And then there is clairtangency, which isn't necessarily a clairsense, but it is still a clair, and that's clairtangency. So that's 8. Thank you, I have all 8. Because clairtangency is not really spoken about as often as the others, for those who do talk about it, and those of you who do talk about the clairs, thank you for talking about them, because you know as well as I do, the clairs need to be discussed, okay? Alright guys, I'm going to leave this here because it's been going already for 14 minutes and I don't want you to be sitting here for 2 hours. But if you would like for me to do another Dear Fear Mongers video, let me know in the comments below. I'll be more than happy to do it. I'm not saying I'll do it every week, it'll probably be something I do maybe once a month or once every couple of months, but if you would like for me to do more, I will. And if you have any suggestions for things that you would like for me for Francie to frankly bring up, then Francie will do that. But in the meantime, I am going to let all of you go now with peace, blessings, and so much love. And I will see you all very soon. Mwah. Bye guys. Bye.